Hey everybody, welcome to What Drives Us, episode 237, or July 5th, 2017. My name is Russell Frost. I have the good fortune, privilege, honor to be hosting the show this week with my good friends here that we'll get to in only a second. My regular co-host, Danny Cooper, is out.
Regular?
He's regularly not my regular co-host.
Once upon a time.
You might remember my erstwhile co-host, Danny Cooper. So Danny's not here this week. Of course, our co-host pro tem, our man of the hour, Mr. Tony Schaefer is here.
Oh, Danny Cooper is so episode 100s.
And, you know, that's actually dead-ass right. I mean, we've done like oh God, it's going to seem like I'm picking on him, but I mean, we've done like 100 episodes without Danny.
And still kicking. I think
there are people that have watched the show for a long time that have no idea who he is.
He's a mythical person.
Yeah. I mean,
He's a magical animal.
Yep. At this point, it's a unicorn.
exactly. If only Danny Cooper would give us free hydrogen. Oh, Danny Cooper, please. That might be the show title.
Danny Cooper farts hydrogen.
I might have to write that down. So, Tony Schaefer, say hi.
Hi, everybody. Happy Wednesday. I was having, it's not much of a wine glass, but I was actually enjoying some Trader Joe Reserve. It's gone now, so I have nothing to do for the rest of the podcast.
You drank all of it?
Yeah, oops.
Wow, that was a good Tesla show.
Yeah.
Well, next to him, at least on my screen, is our good friend, the owner and founder of Boulder Hybrids at boulderhc.com, Mr. Paul Guzik.
Hey, everybody. Glad to be back. And I just cracked a left-hand good juju summer beer here. So lots of fun.
So does the right-hand can look different?
It's for your two-fisting pleasure.
Oh!
I'm confused. Anyway.
We're past the explicit tag at this point.
Wow.
We steamed past that sucker at like 105 miles an hour, okay?
But for anybody where this beer is available, it's a very refreshing summer beverage. So.
I love that. Well, speaking of a refreshing summer beverage, our final panelist this week is a tall, cool drink of water.
Oh my
Mr.
gosh.
Mark Coughlin.
That's horrible.
I try to say
That is absolutely horrible.
Was that horrible? I'm gonna write, never say
Never again.
drink of water. Wow, I thought that was sort of, I don't know, prosaic. And,
No, just
okay,
drop
it was
that
lame.
from your vocabulary. Forget that one. But hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. And we're hoping it gets better from here.
It could only get better from here.
Yeah. Can't get worse.
That's the advantage of being me, as I start at the bottom and we work our way up. So speaking of the bottom, we usually start this show off thanks to Patrick Connor with something called Russell's Rant. And this week I'm going to rant briefly about a Green Car Reports article that's going to surprise no one, but damn it, stop being complacent about it. Our friend John Volker on June 30th wrote a little story about there's no other way to call it. They say it in the title of the article, solar power law rigging. As it turns out, Montana Public Service Commissioner Bob Lake was having a little private meeting, and whoopsie, they left the video cameras running. And basically, he talks to a couple of his cronies, coworkers on the commission about how they're going to screw solar power and cut the subsidies and cut the rates that they pay out for it, so people won't be encouraged to go to it and basically kill solar power in Montana. You know what? I honestly don't give a shit if Montana people get to enjoy solar power or not. They can burn all the coal and all the coal, all the oil. See, it was coal and oil together. They can burn all of this. They can melt down uranium. They can do whatever they like. I don't give a shit. Fine. live with it. I enjoy your polluted rivers. When there's a big oil spill in a river up there and your trout fishing goes to hell, it doesn't affect me. So if you can't care about your state and your future, no reason I should. That's my rant for this week.
That's horrible. That is absolutely horrible that these guys get together and then with live mics in the room discuss how they're going to do it. Like, unbelievable. The audacity.
If this guy were actually a lobbyist for the coal industry, then it wouldn't surprise me at all. But the fact of the matter is, he's the Public Service Commissioner, and one of his tasks is to encourage the movement toward renewable energy. So this is a situation in which I'm assuming he was appointed this position. It was most likely not a secret to whoever appointed him that he is opposed. He's got to be opposed to this because he's doing this.
The big coil companies are probably delivering him hookers and blow and vacations and all that good stuff.
Yeah. So, I mean, the fact of the matter is, you have this appointed, hopefully not elected individual who's supposed to be doing one thing, encouraging this, and then he is just blatantly passing these rules and regulations to intentionally squash it. Yeah. It's misleading and it's deceitful.
Hopefully they can run them all out of town on a rail.
Yeah.
Or in Montana, they might just give them a raise because that's what they want.
Right.
I mean, I'm
Of course,
tired.
now we just lost another state of listeners.
No, you know what? I love Montana. I think Montana's a beautiful state. I've enjoyed my time there. I think it's a magical place. But honestly, if the voters and citizens of Montana can't make their opinion known, if this is what they genuinely want, if their representatives are representing them accurately, then fine. Shit all over your own state. Better there than here.
Yeah.
Our advice is to get to Montana while you can before it's polluted, burned, strip mined, and done under. So enjoy the beauty while it lasts.
And it ain't gonna last long, kids. That's the sad part. It ain't gonna last long. So that's all I got. Let's talk about something fun and cool and not where I rant and get angry. Let's talk about something that, let's see. Evan, our good friend, Dr. Evan Fusco suggested this week. Our good friends who just killed the record on Pikes Peak, Faraday Future. Variety of all places actually had a very interesting article on how LeEco, which is the company that owns Faraday Future, that funds Faraday Future, just got nailed in a Shanghai court for $182 million. In fact, they froze $182 million of the LeEco founder. Needless to say, LeEco, I guess, is it Leco or LeEco or LeEco? It's not
Lego,
Chinese.
Lego.
Yeah, Lego. It's not Chinese, that's for sure, at least that I'm familiar with. These people are going down hard. This company is way overspent, isn't paying back its loans, and now what we're seeing courts responding to this, that they've kind of had enough of the just one more week and next Tuesday I'll pay you for that hamburger. It doesn't happen. So
they're paying people with hamburgers?
Yeah.
Next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday.
Nice 1920s wimpy reference.
Thank you. I mean, like, leave it to me to pull out a century-old pop culture reference, right? that three of us, all of whom are on the show, my apologies to all the viewers and listeners who didn't get that. Yeah, that's an old Popeye reference. So, I don't know that there's anything really deep to say. I mean, we've seen that this company's way overextended. We've seen Faraday Future spending money like crazy and making commitments and promises and then running out of money because the money bucket isn't unlimited. It has a bottom. And I think they're about to hit bottom.
Yeah, it's got a lot of holes in the bottom of that bucket because it just keeps emptying very quickly.
Yeah. I mean, they say that the owner has lost $1 billion in the last year of his personal fortune.
Yeah, not on Faraday Future. He just doesn't know where it is.
Yeah.
Fell out of his pocket.
But it is a shame because we've said several times there are clearly some very good, talented, intelligent engineers at Faraday Future. They put together a car that ran Pikes Peak. They put together a car that has some interesting potential, LiDAR, maybe auto drive. You just kind of hope that if it does go under, that some of this technology, some of the people will go other places and continue their work.
Which would be great. Yeah, it would be nice to see that, because there's certainly, for all the ranting that we've done about Faraday Future, we don't have a problem with what they were trying to do, or that the people that work there. It's not like the engineers' fault that Faraday Future is a really poorly run company that's blown through millions of dollars for no good reason. It's the manager's fault. The people who are supposed to have a vision and supposed to guide this company down a path to success, not just blow as much money as they possibly can and go, party's over, turn out the lights, guys, we're done, thanks.
Yeah.
And that's the path that their managers took, their executives took.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they basically, my big thing is they basically tried to come out with a Model S killer, forgetting that it took Tesla 10 years to get here.
Right. Well, and then designing a bizarre vehicle that's enormous and it's bizarre. There's just no other way to describe it. I mean, did someone need a super fast, super expensive 2-seat limousine?
But it's got zero gravity seats.
Yeah, they do have zero gravity seats. I wonder how far you fly when you get in an accident and you're in zero gravity seats.
Yeah, how do the seatbelts work on that? Do you just slip out horizontally, just go through the windshield?
5-point harness in the back.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, I'm betting the people that are riding in the back of that thing they're gonna put that harness on. I don't think so. Well, so much for that. Who wants to talk? I want to talk about something fun.
Well, worldwide plug-in sales are up 59%.
Tony, take it away.
Yeah, so Inside EVs posted an article that the worldwide plug-in car sales are up 59% in May, with the Toyota Prius Prime and BYD taking top spots. Now, overall, January to May, the Nissan Leaf still holds the top spot for the most plug-in vehicles sold, with the Nissan Leaf, 21,888. The next all-electric vehicle is the Tesla Model S with 18,720, followed by the X with 16,943. I intentionally skipped over the Toyota Prius Prime because it's not an EV. It's a plug-in hybrid, of course, but it is nipping at the heels of the Nissan Leaf, only 100 units behind year to date.
Pretty darn good for a car that's constrained.
Yeah.
Just think if they turned the dial up on the factory to, meet the demand for the car.
Right. And, they said they're hoping that as early as next month could see an all-time monthly record set. So the previous high is 103,000 cars set in December of 2016. So they're predicting that next month might see more than 103,000.
No. Consumers don't want electric cars because gas is cheap.
Oh, right. That's been proven so many times.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and the rumors are that the Model 3 is going to start trickling off the assembly lines later this week. So
that might be a story later on.
Yeah.
Trickling. Is that an actual verb that we should use?
Well, I guess we'll see the numbers, right, next month.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we could talk about that now. Elon announced that Yeah, in some tweets, Mark talked about it. I think yeah, Mark opened the Tesla Life show earlier tonight on that. Mark, in fact, do you want to talk about that? I shouldn't steal your thunder.
Elon had mentioned through some tweets on Sunday night Eastern time that the release of the Model 3 was actually, the date has been picked. 30 cars will be given away on July 28th. The first car, serial number 1, will be produced this coming Friday, 2 days from now. And the initial rollout, the first month, obviously, will be about 30 cars. He said that in August, you're looking at somewhere about 150. And then it's going to ramp up dramatically, ending in December with 20,000 in a month. So quite a huge ramp up over less than half a year ahead for the Tesla Model 3, according to Elon's tweets.
And if he keeps to that, looking at the chart that we just posted, I mean, 20,000 was pretty much the Leaf and the Prime year to date.
Yeah. So, and of course, the rumor out there is that there could be more than 400,000 orders sitting in the wings, waiting for the car.
Right.
Right. You know what I find, and just to go back, I'm sorry, Paul.
I was going to say, wasn't there some story about their paint shop can't paint that many cars? So are all the cars going to be produced in silver or black or something?
Elon has come out and said that the first cars are going to be very option restricted.
Yes.
There's going to be a choice of color and a choice of color in the model interior and wheels, and that's it.
Okay.
So you got 3 selections to make for the early cars. Now, of course, we're hoping that this gets lifted rather quickly because there's a lot of people out there waiting for certain options, such as dual motors based on the area that they live, or the other options that they're hoping for, because we really don't know what the options are. We're hoping that as it gets to the end of the month that there may be these options released, even though they're not available. So we're going to have to wait to see. That's going to be another surprise as we get closer to the end of the month.
Do you think maybe they would just give employees like rollers and just have them paint cars?
Yeah.
I like that idea.
No lunch break for you. You're going to paint.
I'm just curious, where did you hear the paint shop thing? Because I haven't heard that rumor.
I saw it somewhere recently. They said that that's the bottleneck in their factory is
the paint shop.
The paint. They can't.
Interesting.
Someone did the math, and there's no way they could paint 5,000 cars a week. They could stamp the metal and put the motors together and put the batteries in, but the bottleneck becomes the paint shop.
How long before somebody's going, we're shipping bare metal?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They just make stainless.
Yeah, I was gonna say I want my Model S in DeLorean.
Yeah, DeLorean did that.
In aluminum.
They went.
Yeah, why don't you just anodize the aluminum? Like that. I've heard of worse ideas. Maybe not.
Although I think the Model 3 is a lot of steel instead of aluminum. For cost reasons.
Yeah, there certainly is a mix. Yeah.
I wanted to come back to that article on Inside EVs, but one thing that just jumped out at me, and it's not a huge point, but looking at this, the world's top 10 plug-in car manufacturers, Tesla's at the top, 35,000 cars, and it goes down and down and down. What's interesting isn't that Tesla is at the top with 35,000, or that BMW's made a surprising number of cars, or Nissan or the Chinese companies, but the Toyota with 20,000 plug-ins is more than halfway to Tesla's cumulative number.
That includes plug-in hybrids.
Right, in plug-in hybrids. But it's just, I guess where I wanted to go with this is when one of the big car companies decides to actually do something and throw their might behind it, it's going to be interesting to see how that impacts Tesla, if they've spun up enough to become a volume manufacturer. Because certainly Nissan, Toyota, Chevrolet could, if they wanted to, manufacture these numbers in big enough quantities to really open up the market. Now, are there enough people to buy?
And don't forget ZDAO, or however you say it. ZDAO.
Yeah, that thing. Those guys. The Z company. So that's Tony. Thank you for that. Are you okay, Tony?
Yeah, I'm fine. I was just reopening the.
Oh, okay.
The tab.
I just wanted to make sure I hadn't done something silly.
No.
Let me see. I have to go back here now and look at Tony. Oh yeah, Tony. Let's go to you again. Let's talk about Volvo for a minute.
Oh yeah.
Do you mind?
No, not at all.
Thank you.
Although I think I did close.
Did you
that
just
one.
close it? Do you
I
want
did.
me to start it?
I'm trying to find. Yeah, I can't find a link for it.
I'll send it to you. So TechCrunch reported this week that Volvo had announced, and I'm going to quote the headline because it's important to quote the headline here. Quote, Volvo will only make electric and hybrid cars starting in 2019. For an aside, I'm going to go to Paul Guzik.
Didn't we talk about this a few weeks ago?
I
think we did.
I don't recall.
We might have mentioned the name, but it was a new story that just came out this week.
Yeah, it's got deja vu for me, but
But they did bump the date. Usually only here 2020. This is 2019.
2019. Right.
okay, yeah.
So this could be a whole new ball game just based on the date.
But Paul, didn't you post the fact check thing on this? Or did I get that wrong? Somebody sent me an email and said fact check this, and turns out that what that means is what Volvo isn't saying is they're going to continue producing legacy cars, means gasoline, until 2025. So when Volvo says they're only going to make electric and hybrid cars in 2019, what they mean is in addition to their legacy gas vehicles.
But part of only.
That's like some kind of double speak.
Yeah,
the definition of only.
That's what sort of struck me about this
That's
article.
the Swedish definition of only.
Yeah, it's
Okay, so I've got another take on this from another article here.
Sweet.
Let me show you the headline that seems to put it into a different perspective. Volvo says from starting 2019, all new models will be electric or hybrid. So I think that's the difference. Instead of just manufacturing only, it'll be all new models introduced.
I see. So only all the new vehicles from 2019 going forward will be electric or hybrid, but they'll continue making gas vehicles until 2025.
Okay.
Old models, I guess,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
sentiment, right? Everybody loves petrol. The smell of gas and exhaust.
Right, and diesel in Europe, yeah.
Yeah, and diesel. Yeah. Well, Volvo diesel motors like legendary. I mean,
Now, I'm not going to say that Volvo is like this, but someone pulled up an article this week from Chrysler back in 2008 on how they were going to electrify their fleet starting that year. So, there's a lot of talk out there, a lot of greenwashing going on. I wouldn't believe much of it until it actually happens.
Right. Some companies are really good at making product, and some companies are really good at making press releases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and yeah, absolutely. I mean, once again, our friends at Faraday Future, they've been manufacturing much more hype than vehicles, and God bless them for that. Back again to Green Car Reports. June 30th, John Volker wrote an interesting article that I just read. And, forgive me if you're technically inclined, and I'm not the most technically inclined guy on this panel. If you haven't figured that out, welcome to your first episode of What Drives Us. But I thought it was interesting, right now, sitting outside my apartment charging is a Kia Optima plug-in. So I'm just very interested to drive that vehicle. I've driven a Prius for years, but one of the things that John talks about is the difference between two-motor hybrid systems and one-motor hybrid systems, and why the two-motor hybrid systems are better. And I begged Paul Guzik to come on the show and talk a little bit about that. So I'm going to turn the mic over to Paul.
Well, I mean, basically, they say two heads is better than one. Well, two motors are better than one. The main reason in a hybrid or plug-in hybrid is one motor could be a motor, or the other one can be a generator, or they can both be a motor, or they both can be a generator, depending on what you're trying to do. So in the Prius, for example, which is a 2-motor system, they actually don't have a reverse gear in the transmission. So when the car goes backwards, they have to run one of the motors in reverse to make the car go backwards. The problem is, what if your battery's depleted? How do you make the car go backwards? Because the gas engine only goes one direction. So they use one of the motor generators as a generator to generate electricity to power the other motor to go reverse. And it sounds complicated, but it's actually a very brilliant design, and allows them to do all kinds of creative things. Like if you need extra power, they can make both motors like a turbocharger. Just way more flexibility for the manufacturer. A little trickier software and implementation, and I think why some people don't do it is patent issues. I think Toyota has a lot of patents in that space, although Ford do use a 2-motor system, and I think they license technology from Toyota. So, for example, one of the, in my opinion, crappy hybrid systems, the Honda IMA, that's a 1-motor system. So Toyota's engineering is far superior if you were to look at it from an engineering perspective. So anything with 2 motors is better.
I mean, a hybrid synergy drive has certainly been proven over a large number of vehicles with a large number of miles, and it's been a very successful system because of that seemingly very complex system that actually allows the vehicle to respond optimally to a wide variety of situations.
Using creative software. And there's a Prius transmission which contains both electric motors is surprisingly simple. If you were to take it apart and lay it on the kitchen table, there's maybe a couple of dozen parts, where a conventional 8-speed automatic transmission has thousands of parts inside. I mean, it's a really complicated machine, lots of points of failure. So, you know, I think it's great that Kia is entering the market, but I don't think the engineering is as good as Toyota, and we'll see how they hold up over time. But that's my 2 cents.
Yeah. So I have to say this. We have Eric and Eric in the chat room. Eric Stevens, Eric Rucker, and they're going back and forth over a GM and Honda comparison of the motor systems. And Eric Rucker's talking about GM using them 2009 with pickups and city buses.
And all those are broken now. All those.
Oh.
E-front hybrids. You can't give them away. So, but that's another story.
I mean, and forgive me while I plug something here. If you go to youtube.com/whatdrivesus, for the love of God, please look at my car reviews, okay? I want to see and share them, okay? Please. But I just posted the Kia Optima hybrid review, a 1-motor hybrid. And in some ways, it's a nice car, but I was really left just underwhelmed.
Still a bit of Kia build quality?
Build quality was an issue. The implementation of things, like one of the things that I actively test is like because it's an EX configuration, it comes with lots of stuff, lots of bells and whistles. One of the things is like the lane departure warning system, right? That everybody has these days. The Kia system doesn't work 100% of the time. At least that was my experience. And again, not scientific testing. I didn't test it hundreds of times. Tested it maybe a dozen or more times. And, about 30% of the time, it didn't give me a departure warning. It just let me run over the line. And I'm not talking about jerking it fast. I'm talking about just that drifting thing. So,
but is it looking at the line or looking for cars adjacent to you?
That's a very good question, Paul, and I don't know.
Was that question asked? Was that on the police report?
Yeah, I didn't know
before the truck took the rearview mirror off the Kia.
No, I didn't know damage. I mean, it's a nice little car, but there's a lot of weird little, just kind of clunky things in it that I'm not used to seeing in Toyotas and Hondas and other, even Chevys. That I haven't seen in other cars, and it didn't feel well finished to me. I'm very interested to drive the plug-in outside. 33 miles of range. We'll see. I'm looking forward to doing that review, starting that tomorrow.
One of the interesting things that John Volker mentions, talking about a single engine, is Paul had mentioned that having or well, not engine, two motors. But when Paul had mentioned when you have two motors, you can do all kinds of creative stuff with it. One of the things John mentions is, just imagine, for example, that you're coasting to a stop and you're using regenerative braking, and then the motor is going to, at some point, hand it over to the friction braking. But situationally, what if something comes up and you need to accelerate quickly? So right now you have one motor that is doing the handoff from regenerative braking over to the friction braking, but now you try to accelerate and it has to quickly go from regen to accelerate. And and one of his mentions is in that situation, that one motor is going to hesitate, while it's figuring stuff out, and that, depending on the situation, it could be detrimental. Not trying to scare people, but just situationally, having two motors, like Paul said, lets you handle more situations than forcing one motor to handle all situations.
Absolutely.
I just thought that was really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's why I wanted to talk about it, and I was hoping Paul was going to be on so, he could say something sensible about technical stuff, whereas I'd just be like, yeah, the two motor. No. I mean, I get it, but I'm not like, when it starts, the idea that, tell me, Paul, have you actually ever had a Prius transmission apart on your kitchen table?
Not on the kitchen table, but in the shop, yes. There's very few parts, very few things can break on it. Surprisingly simple machine, and they rarely fail. So
we have to get a video of that someday.
There's a bunch on YouTube if you Google.
Is there?
Prius hybrid?
No, we do it. It'd be more fun. There'd be dancing girls and stuff in it.
Right. So. Yeah. If you Google Prius porn, I think you'll find it.
Do not Google Prius porn. Do not Google Prius porn. I want to tell you all that. You know what? I'm going to change subjects really quick. Mark has a couple of tidbits about one of our other favorite EVs.
Yes, the upcoming Nissan Leaf. More information has come out about it. And teaser picture, which, this shows you a lot about the new car. You've got a nice looking grille with their logo. It's still silver, so that hasn't changed.
I still want to punch him in the face for that.
What a great shot that is. It tells you so much. But probably that's what they're after. What has been released is that the Japanese automaker will be unveiling the vehicle on September the 5th. So the new Leaf will be unveiled. And it is said it will be shortly available at dealerships. Now, what shortly is defined as, we don't know. But they're saying shortly anyways. So interesting to see that the new Leaf with a guesstimated 60 kilowatt battery or 200 miles of range will be unveiled shortly. So looking forward to what the Leaf has in store for us. We have seen some spy shots of the car, the exterior, and it looks like they kind of lost the bullfrog headlights, which is great in my opinion. Some people felt it was a distinguishing factor that they liked, but I never liked the stick-up lights. So having them flush at the car certainly makes it look better as far as I'm concerned. But those are cars that are heavily camouflaged, so certainly it can look different than what the finished product will actually look like. But we are definitely looking forward to seeing what they can unveil on the 5th of September this year.
Can I just quickly point out how similar this Leaf looks to the old Leaf, even though it's heavily camouflaged?
Why don't you throw up the picture for us, Russell?
Do you mean, did you just ask me to throw up? Because I mean, I've done a lot of things on this show, but
that's what I've heard. Let me see if I can find it.
If you're looking at one, I meant.
There you go. There's. Let me see. Okay, so there's a picture of the rear end.
Looks a little psychedelic.
No, I think it's different than
there's certainly different.
There's certainly differences, but not much. And then again, look at, and these are smaller, so my apologies, but I just, like, I'm not seeing a radically new design, and maybe that's not going to be. But for all the secrecy and all the stupidity of this teaser campaign, if it's not significantly different, shame on Nissan. You know what I mean? Like, shame on them.
No,
They all treat it like it's, you know, an unbelievable secret. Every one of them do. Every car manufacturer has to douse their car to make it look like this, except for Tesla. They just cover it with a coat.
Yeah.
But everybody else, they take it to the camouflage shop and they completely do them up.
Yeah.
I guess I'm really not sure what good that camouflage does, but I guess it does some.
Gives you some misleading of lines.
It blurs the lines and it makes it more difficult to actually distinguish shape.
Does it?
Yeah.
Is that how it works? I don't know.
That's how it's supposed to work. Yeah, I've actually watched a.
You know, if the bullfrog headlights are gone, there certainly is a bullfrog lump on each side of that nose of that car.
That also, you know, they've been known to put foam in place and cover it up with camouflage. So that may not be
so
there.
What you're saying is there could be a 67 vet underneath this.
Well, not quite, but
you know what?
yeah, I think GM might have something to say about that if that's what showed up.
Attorneys, you know.
So I wanna make sure that everyone knows that you can get all of the articles that we're talking about this week on our Facebook page, and that is facebook.com/whatdrivesus. Also, we make sure to throw them into our Flipboard magazine. So if you use Flipboard, then make sure and find and subscribe to the What Drives Us magazine.
And I'll just add to the second part of the story here. Nissan has released a quick video that we'll take a look at about a new ProPilot parking that's going to premiere with the Leaf. Not sure if it's going to be a standard option or an extra option, but they did. They did
only
let
if you take that camouflage paint job.
Only that's right. That's right. So we'll just turn on the video here and have a little watch.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Hold on 1 second, Mark. I'm sorry. There you go. Oh, it's the camouflage. Oh,
yes.
ProPilot.
So you press the button on the console. It starts to look for a spot.
It just passed like 6 spots.
Yeah.
Those weren't good enough, Paul.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Oh, wait. It's an old person. They're backing into the spot. I just lost all the old people. Great.
Yeah.
It will be cool though in future years when you'll like get downtown and you just say, find me a spot, and the car will know which garages have spot, where street parking is, and it will just park itself.
Yeah, it's the start of autonomous driving, right? Like it's those components that they're putting together and making it into a system that's, you know, acceptable to the general public to start with. So getting everyone comfortable with it and allowing them to you know, take away one of the problems that some people have with parallel or backup parking. I don't know. It's certainly it's a skill that if you never practice, you'll never get good at.
Right.
And if you decide that you're not going to do it, people that don't do that today and don't have a car that has that assist, what do? They go find another parking spot. Like they find one that's easier. So I don't know. It's kind of a mixed bag for me. I think people should practice and understand it and be able to do it. But there are some that will never pick it up or never want to try.
Those millennials, they'll never learn.
Those damn millennials. Oh, I wish they'd get off my lawn.
So, speaking of parking, and I'm trying to find it, and it, damn it, I don't remember the exact year. There was a huge difference. Oh, this might be it. I learned to parallel park in all things, and I'm trying to find one with a decent paint job. It was maybe something close to this. So the car I learned to parallel park in, come on, there we go. We can do this.
Pinto.
Was a Ford LTD station wagon.
Land yacht.
Yes.
Wow.
That was the car I learned to park in, and really what it came down to was
In downtown Chicago?
no,
Yeah.
fortunately not.
Can
What it
you
really
imagine?
came down to was that car is such a barge. It took
Yeah.
4 smaller cars to push it in, little tugs to push it into the spot. No, I mean, literally.
Tony, I did not know that you were a Ghostbuster.
Yes. True.
Can I point out how big this car is?
Oh my God! Yeah.
And yet they had storage on their roof.
And yeah.
How much crap do you have to
Probably
carry
more,
with you in
yeah.
the car?
Oh, I don't know, but yeah. So you had the front seat, you had the back seat, and then there was a seat that folded up,
Right. And
Look
face
on the back.
backwards.
face backwards, and the rear window rolled down.
Or
Yeah.
sometimes
Yeah.
there was, like facing seats.
Until they had
Yeah.
children that were asphyxiated from the exhaut. Then they had to change the design.
Well,
Right.
yeah.
Well,
until
then they
you
put
had
them in the box
safety
on the roof.
regulations.
Right. That's the coffin for the kids.
Yeah. They put the body bags. Oh, yeah.
I'm telling you, man.
That might
if
be
you
a
can
show
park,
title.
if you can park that, you could park anything.
That's true.
I have no fear when it comes to parallel parking.
Oh, I've got an unrelated, interesting story.
Please regale us.
So yesterday I had the pleasure of driving from somewhere in Idaho to Boulder, and went through Utah, and was hitting scan on the radio trying to find NPR, and lo and behold, the Rush Limbaugh show, however you say it, came on.
Yeah, whatever.
And it might have been an old episode, but it was new to me because I never listened to him. And he was talking about how the Tesla battery
Oh, God,
takes
yeah.
as much carbon footprint as 8 years of running a gas car just to make the battery.
Right.
And then how all the cars when they're charging are charging off of coal, and just spewing all this stuff, which, he had no scientific sources, of course. But I guess people believe that crap when they hear it on the
They
radio.
love it.
So
Yeah, when you've got millions of listeners, you can spew whatever you want.
yeah,
They're just taking
it's
it in.
scientifically proven that in almost everywhere in the country, the grid is cleaner than coal, or running electric cars cleaner than making electricity from coal, and it's drastically changing to renewables everywhere. So I don't know. It's sad there's no fact checking on stuff like that.
Yeah. And there's no desire.
No.
Right. Yeah.
That's the hard part.
So if you
global
wanna-
warming is a Chinese hoax, and
Yeah.
it takes more energy and carbon to create electric cars than it does to drive a Mack truck. And
Yeah, and just to make the Tesla battery before you even charge it once is 8 years of carbon emissions from a V8 engine, according to him. So
Way to go, Rush.
Right.
that's it.
Yeah. So anyway, I
Thanks
guess
for depressing me, Paul.
yeah. And luckily, I did find the NPR station eventually. So
I thought NPR was illegal in Utah.
it kind of leaks over from Wyoming, and
Wyoming. Dick Cheney's on that one. Okay, I'm gonna shut that down. Get those liberals out of there. Wow, I have a story. We talked a few weeks ago about AAA raising Tesla insurance rates by 30% because AAA saw through their figures that Teslas were involved in more expensive claims, and it cost more or more claims, and it cost more to put to fix them. None of which really is bad, or it's not an indictment of Tesla. It's an expensive car. It's a small volume car from a startup company. And yeah, guess what? They're not easy or cheap to fix.
Specialized materials, too.
Absolutely. So, when I sent out the news, I like to put my own little headlines on it. And my headline on this story was expensive things cost more. Which I think is just hella clever.
no
Tony, what do you
shit,
got here?
Sherlock. Yeah.
Look at that. Yeah, there we go. Tony's got a little picture of a frunk. Thank you, Tony.
Yeah, I don't know why they're so expensive. I mean, they don't even have an engine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that.
There's nothing there.
There's nothing. Yeah.
Those wheels look familiar too. Just vaguely familiar. So anyway, the story again comes from Green Car Reports. The IIHS, this is the International Institute for or Insurance Institute of Highway Safety. Excuse me. They do a lot of studies that obviously the insurance companies love because they love data. They like to underwrite things with real data, so they assess the risk accurately. And IIHS confirmed that the Model S is an outlier. That compared to other expensive cars, it gets in more problematic. It gets in more accidents, not because it's a bad car. That's not what I'm saying. And it's the cost to repair it is more than comparably priced cars. Again, this is not an indictment of Tesla vehicles, maybe an indictment of Tesla vehicle owners, but it's expensive to fix. And obviously, insurance companies want to know that because they want to accurately assess the costs when they're writing insurance. So this was sort of a second confirmation that the AAA study wasn't inaccurate, that it was correct. And yeah, guess what? If you've got a Model S, your insurance is going to cost more.
And if you have a Porsche or a Lamborghini or high-end BMW, it's going to cost more too.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. And shame on you for thinking you can insure your Lambo for what you insured your Pinto,
right?
In 1978. Because
but I think that they are comparing apples to apples. I think they are looking at the more expensive cars and comparing them to the Tesla. So I'm not sure if what is a Tesla comparable? Is that a BMW 5? I don't know what the actual comparable car is in a gasoline car. Is it an Audi 6? What is the
right?
But they're saying apparently they're saying that Teslas cost more than those traditional cars.
Yeah, I mean, if I recall from the AAA thing, I want to say that they had pegged the Model S at like $84,000 as just an average value for that vehicle. So they're comparing to other vehicles in that price range. Now, exactly what vehicles those are, I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe a BMW 7, maybe a BMW M Series 5 or 7, Audi, R6 or I don't know.
But they, as long as they compared it to the price, then you at least that's a common denominator there.
Yeah, and again,
but it is hard to fix. I mean, a lot of the panels are aluminum. You need special equipment to work on that car. Expensive equipment, training's required, yada yada yada. So
yeah, it's going to be more expensive.
Yeah,
but it does beg the question. There's two parts in here that I find the most interesting. One is, it did say that there were more claims.
Because of more miles. That was the other point to me.
And that was the other thing. Why is there so much more miles? Are people driving around in their Model S's just to taunt me? Is that why they're logging so many miles?
I believe so.
As long as
it might be,
but it's true. I know that with my Volt, I drive more than I used to because it's fun. I do. I've had it now for the second one I've had for 7 weeks now, and the previous one I had for 2.5 years, and I drove more mileage in both cars than my previous gas car.
Right.
So what you're saying is
And I think that, Tony, once you start driving electric, you're going to notice it too.
So if manufacturers create more electric vehicles that are fun to drive, our traffic can double, is what you're saying.
And congestion and everything else. Absolutely.
Okay. Got it. All right.
Until they're fully autonomous. Then it will get
now
easier.
we have the master plan. Yes.
Yeah, and once it becomes fully autonomous, the car will say, we're not going anywhere. Sit down.
Sit in the back and put in your anti-gravity seat.
That's when Skynet takes over. That is, oh, that's nice. Hey, and finally, every once in a while, I like to end the show on a cute note. And I don't get to do that very often. And I'm probably not the best person on the panel to try to go cute, but I'm going to go cute on you. I found this on Electrek, of course, because we get lots of stories from them. Thank you. This is the cutest solar farm on the planet.
Oh.
Okay? Yes, that's real. Okay? This is real. This isn't Photoshop. This isn't something else. This is a real Chinese solar plant. That's just cute as a button.
Can you see it from space?
I would have to think that the aliens are going to see that and home right in on it.
Yeah.
Look at that cute panda. Or they're going to think that's the dominant life form, and God knows the 300 pandas that are left are going to wipe out humanity if they have the chance. So there is a little story, and I'm going to read that to you. You may be interested. Well, how did they do that? It's a 50 megawatt power plant. It's only partially built. This is actually one of two pandas that's going to be in this solar farm. The black parts are single crystalline silicon solar cells supplied by a Chinese company whose name I will not butcher here, while the white parts consist of thin film solar cells supplied by First Solar. This was originally posted on Inhabit, whose site crashes my browser. So I would show more pictures, but their site crashes my browser. So shame on them. Anyway, cute panda solar farm! Yay! Woohoo! See, let's forget about that Montana rant when I've talked about polluted rivers and reveled in it. No one's going to forget about that, are they?
No. All right, so
yeah, Tony.
Okay, so I found what. Let's see if I can do image in a new window. Come over here, do this. Apparently, this was like the first mock-up.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Tony.
Yeah. So
there we go. Yeah, that was the first version of it. Well, the drawings for it. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there's supposed to be two pandas.
Is that the Faraday future plant in the middle of it?
Yeah, I believe it is.
Yeah, you have to respect people that have the whimsy to create a 50 megawatt solar farm and make cute pandas out of it.
It's just going to be a big hunk of stuff. I might as well make it cool,
Why not? Exactly. Why not fly over that and blow some people's minds? Like, oh my God, look at that. That panda's a half a mile tall. That's awesome.
I cannot wait for Google Maps to get that up.
Yeah. Oh, I love that idea.
I'm trying to figure out where this is, so I could see.
Yeah, I didn't see a location per se, and you know what? I don't care. It's a cute panda. I'm not going to dig into it. Last thing I want to know is that 5-year-old slaves built it. You know what I mean, or something. I don't need that.
Can't take that type of downer. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, and Tony was so upset. Look, I bet that Inhabit site crashed him.
Yep.
Because
he's gone. He's gone.
Well, let's do some shoutouts and go home before Tony comes back. Oh,
darn.
There he is. Did that Inhabit thing crash your browser?
He's not back yet.
I didn't.
You did it on purpose.
Good for you, Tony.
Yes.
Paul, let's start with you. Let's do some shoutouts.
As usual, I'm going to plug my business, Boulder Hybrids. BoulderHC.com is our website. In Boulder, Colorado, we work on hybrids and EVs. And come on in, even from Utah, we will take care of your hybrids.
Even from Utah.
Even from Utah. And even if you're listening to Rush Limbaugh, Paul will be the only man to fix your car reasonably.
But when you get your car back, it might be set to NPR.
Yeah. All of the presets will be set to NPR.
Yeah, we do refer to NPR as National Prius Radio because 99% of the Priuses that come into our shop have NPR as program number 1. So, is there a correlation there?
I'm so guilty of that. Oh, Jesus. I feel
great.
bad.
Now I know that if I drop my Prius off, I'm gonna have to change it over to our Goth station.
Yeah.
All ministry all the time. Yeah.
Or watch TV radio or something.
Yeah, BoulderHC.com. And if you own a Prius and you need accessories, our friend and former co-host Danny Cooper really needs the money, but he's the best man to go to at the Prius Chat shop for your Prius accessories. That's PriusChat.com/shop. PriusChat.com. That's /shop. All the stuff is tested before it's sold there, and please, for the love of God, Danny needs the money. And see this down here? YouTube.com/whatdrivesus. Not only can you see all of our weekly shows, but you can see my reviews, of which I'm adding to daily. Please go there and check out all of the exciting reviews that I have worked so very hard on, because the Honda Accord Touring Hybrid, the Kia Optima EX Hybrid, the Toyota Avalon Hybrid. You would think I do nothing but drive hybrids. Well, I kind of do. The Acura MDX review will be up soon. The Toyota RAV4 hybrid will be up soon. Lots of good reviews. I think they are, and I would love it if you watch them, if you shared them with your friends, and if you like them or don't like them, even tell me why. I'd be very curious to know what you guys and ladies want to see. Tony.
Hey, I want to give some shout outs to Eric and Lee, who and of course JT24 kicking it in the chat. You know, it's I'm reading what you guys are writing, so even though I'm doing the show too. So yeah, thanks for hanging out with us, spending some time with us. Really do appreciate it.
Absolutely. 01010101. Not there this week.
I'm scrolling. Sure. Shout out to him too. I don't see him, but you know, why not?
Yeah. Very good. Mark Coughlin.
Shout out to the Waterloo Region Volt Tech Group, as well as the Waterloo Region EV Association. And if you happen to be in Burlington, Ontario this weekend, come on down to Electric Avenue, where we will have on display a number of different EVs, plugins, and the ability for you to test drive them. So come on down to Burlington between 10 and 4 on Saturday near the lake, and love to see you out there on Electric Avenue.
You're not going to do the rock down to Electric Avenue Eddie Grant?
No, I'm
thing?
not singing Eddie Grant songs. No,
That hurts, man.
not doing it.
I was really hoping you'd do that, because I kind of wanted to hear your fake Jamaican accent. You know. Hey, I got 3 show titles. So is it A, if only Danny Cooper would give us free hydrogen, B, the big coil industry, or C, that's where they keep the body bags?
I like big coil industry.
I got 1 vote for big coil.
Big
what do you
coil.
think?
Big
That's
coil
where they
body
keep the
bags.
bodies.
Yeah, I'd say that's where they keep the bodies.
The body bags. Okay.
Yeah.
I like big coil, but body bags has a certain feel. Okay. Let's see. Whatdrives.us. That's our main site. You can stream or download the show in video or audio format there. All of our shows available, and my car reviews are there. Would you go, for the love of God, and watch them? Whatdrives.us. Of course, amazing things like the articles that Tony's written about hypermodeling are all there as well. One more time, it's whatdrives.us. Let's see, Tony, I remember the old days, the Danny Cooper days, when you always did the Facebook thing. Do you remember that?
When I did the Facebook advertisement thing, or what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do it right now. Facebook.com/whatdrivesus.
I kind of mentioned it earlier.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay. I should pay more attention to the show while I'm doing it.
Oh, I'm the one over here at YouTube trying to pull up Electric Avenue.
Yeah, go ahead. Demonetize the show in 1 second, okay? Go ahead. Just take away our 0.00002 of a penny away from us. Go ahead, do that. Rip it out of my hands.
Yeah, I can't get it to stream though. I'm really disappointed.
There's probably a reason for that. So I want to thank the wonderful people that I get to do this show with, Mr. Paul Gruzik, Mr. Tony Schaefer, and Mr. Mark Coughlin. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Good week.
Thank you.
All right.
This is where you cover for me getting my iPad started so I can play the theme. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Okay. Hey, you're welcome. I knew the show would go so smoothly tonight. I knew it. And of course, thanks to all of you who listen and watch. Seriously, thank you. Love you guys, and it's amazing that that we get to do this. So that's it for this week. Download us next week and find out what drives us. Oh, really? You're going to do that to me?
See, the problem
cue
is
the music.
we're coming back from holiday.
I know. That's it. Happy Independence Day a day late.
Yeah.
And Canada Day, but we
Happy Canada Day, Mark.
Happy American Canada Day.
Yeah, Canada Day. Thank you. Good night. We'll see you next week.